Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, my vlog all about my knitting and cross-stitch adventures. Today is July 21st, 2020, and you have stumbled across a knitting episode on my channel. I will be talking about all that I have been working on knitting-wise over the past 2 weeks. If you are a usual viewer of mine, I'm sure you're noticing that this video is going up a little bit late. My power was out for the past 36 hours, so I wasn't able to record an episode and get it up for you guys, but I'm doing it now, and I hope it won't be up too late. Usually, if you're new here, first of all, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy. But usually I put up videos every Tuesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. Before we jump into what I'm working on knitting-wise, there are 2 places that you can find me on the internet. The first is on Instagram at birch.and.lily, and the second is on Ravelry at birchandlily. So let's jump into what I've been working on knitting-wise. I have no show notes. I completely forgot about writing them until I sat down. So hopefully I will remember to tell you guys everything that I need to. If I forget anything though, for sure, you can always ask me a question down in the comments below and I'd be happy to answer it for you. So I have one finished object this episode. I finished these up last night actually, so they haven't been blocked yet, but the ends are woven and we will call that good. These are my Into the Woods socks. I have knit these out of Dragon Hoard yarn on their, I believe it's the lower base, a 85-15. I cast on 64 stitches for these. I changed the cuff pattern. The pattern itself calls for a 1x1 rib and I did a 1x1 twisted rib. Knit in pattern for all of this. Slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset, which is what the pattern calls for. And it does have a little bit of a garter panel on the sides of the flap. Typical wedge toe. And yeah, I have knit these up to go into my gift box of socks. I'm doing that if you haven't heard. I'm knitting up a whole bunch of socks right now because I don't need any more socks. We all know that if you've been watching me for a while. So I'm knitting up a whole bunch of socks and putting them in a box to have ready for gifts that I may need later in the year. Everyone that I knit socks for, except for my husband and my dad, have about the same size foot, so I can knit them all to about a size 8 foot and they'll fit just fine for everyone. So that is what I'm doing. I think I missed saying I cast these on a 2.25mm US 1 needle. I do that with all my socks, so if I miss saying that ever, I guarantee you they're knit on a 2.25mm needle. But this pattern, like I said, is Into the Woods. It's by Melody Hoffmann, and it's so pretty. It looks like little trees. My phone crashed, so hopefully that video saves. If it doesn't, I'm gonna have to refilm this beginning part. We will see. Usually it takes a little while for it to show up, but like I was saying, there's this cute little tree pattern running down the whole sock. So Into the Woods is the perfect name for this pair of socks. And I love them so much. This yarn, I'm going to be all over the place because I don't have show notes. I don't know if I said, but this colorway is called Burrow. It was a club colorway, so unfortunately it is not available anymore. But I'm sure Tristan has something available that is somewhat similar, and she has many other beautiful colorways too if you can't find something close to this. Okay, let's move on to works in progress. I have many socks to show you guys, and I am also working on a sweater as well. So let's jump into all of these pretty projects. This is the one I grabbed first, so that is what we will show first. I don't even know what's in here. This is a project bag from Birch Grove bags. I love these bags so much. So this pattern is the Fleuriste Socks. It is a pattern by Sari Norlund, and I am knitting it up out of a club colorway from Hey Sister Yarn Co. This was from their Princess Bride yarn club. So this blue color here is called Shrieking Eels, and the purple is called Humperdink. If you know the Princess Bride, you will understand those references, I'm sure. Anyways, I am working away on the first sock. I am past the heel, which is exciting. This is definitely a pattern where you have to pay attention, but it's so pretty. I hope you can see the lace patterning there on it. Maybe I'll put it on a blocker in a second. But yeah, I'm past the heel. This pattern calls for a slip stitch heel flap, or like a heel, what am I saying? A short row heel turn. That's what this calls for. So I do have that done, and as you can see, these are toe up. Again, on 2.25 millimeter US ones. I think this pattern only has one size, and I believe it is 64 stitches. There, that might give you a little bit better of an idea of the pattern. It's very pretty. It's hard to get bored on something like this because every row is so different. So yeah, these are my Fleuriste socks. I would like to get these done by the end of the month because I am knitting them up for a knit along that Sari is doing. And these are the July socks, and there will be one more sock pattern coming out at the beginning of August. And if you finish all 4 socks that are a part of this knit along, then you're entered for prizes. So that is my goal, to get these done by the end of July. Okay, let's show my sweater next, I guess. I have this in a bag by that Crafty little fox, and I am knitting this sweater up out of Woolberry Fiber Co., their Berry Natural base, which is 100% merino yarn, and I am knitting the Nurtured pattern by Andrea Mowry. So last time I was working on the first sleeve, and I've now finished the first sleeve. So this little progress keeper is where I was last time. And that's all I've done. I haven't started the second sleeve just yet, but I'm happy that the first one's done. It's really fun. It's a very mindless pattern. It's very easy to remember the repeats and know what you're doing. There's only 4 rows in the repeat for the pattern, so very simple, very fun. I should pull this out again and get the second sleeve started before I kind of just forget about it for a while. Let me see what needles I'm using here. So I have a US 6, a 4 millimeter that I'm using for the main needle, and I think I dropped down a couple needle sizes for the cuff. I cannot remember what that size is because I don't have show notes, but if you watch my previous knitting episode, I do know that I mentioned what size needle I'm using for the cuff on this. I do find, and I always say with Andrea's patterns, I always have to drop down a couple needle sizes, otherwise my gauge is very off. So yes, I've definitely dropped down needles on this sweater pattern. I don't think I said the colorway. So like I said, this is Woolberry Fiber Co., their Berry Natural base, and this colorway is called My Favorite Sweater, which is quite apt because I quite like this sweater and it may be my favorite. So quick and simple on that sweater. Maybe next time I'll have the second sleeve done. I'm not going to count on it though because I'm easily distractible. Another project here in a Birch Grove bag. This is a new cast on. You guys wouldn't have seen it last episode. I am test knitting this pattern for Lindsey Fowler of Lost and Fond, and this is the Hibernation Socks pattern. It is so wonderful and so squishy, and I'm going to put it on a blocker because I have the first one finished, and I will give you guys a peek. So this is like the coziest slipper type sock ever. I love it so much. I knit this up on 2.25 millimeter US 1 needles. I believe I actually did 58 stitches for this sock and it fits perfect. So there is, I'm sure you can tell, mohair up in this cuff. It is knit double, which is amazing. It makes it so squishy and warm. There's a heel flap and gusset on here, and she has a rounded toe pattern that is included in this pattern that I used for the toe, obviously, because I'm testing, so I have to follow the pattern. But this won't be releasing for a while, so consider this a really, really, really early sneak peek. I don't think this is releasing until like October. So keep your eyes out for that. I will definitely be knitting up the second sock of this set and wearing it around and loving it so much once it starts to get a little bit colder. I'm not usually a mohair person, mostly because when I'm knitting with it, I feel like I'm eating it the whole time. And I did feel that way knitting these, but I can deal with it for how cozy they are. So I don't want to give away too much, obviously, because this pattern is not released yet, but I did want to give you a little sneak peek of it. The yarn that I'm using for this, again, is Woolberry Fiber Co. So this is their merino base, held double with their cashmere base. The merino is in the colorway Rhubarb Pie, and what colorway is this one? So the main colorway in the cashmere base is a club colorway. It is called Flower Shop. They have many colorways that are this beautiful sort of mauve-y color though, so I'm sure you could find something that matched with Rhubarb Pie quite well. Rhubarb Pie is a normal colorway that they have sometimes in their updates. So yeah, these are the Hibernation socks. Well, the one Hibernation sock, the other one's soon to be cast on, and I'm in love with them so much. So one more sock that I have been working on, I have it in this bag by the Scrappy Thread. I am knitting this up out of a sock set from Legacy Fiber Arts. It's absolutely beautiful. This is their Sally sock set, which I think is a Halloween one, so it may be releasing pretty soon on their website again. But it's such a pretty mix of pinks and oranges and greens, and I love having just this plain, which is blowing out of course, but this, I do not know what is going on with my phone today. I think I need to clear some stuff off of it because it crashed again. But I was talking about this sock set from Legacy Fiber Arts, saying that I love this cream with this colorway for the sock set. So the socks that I'm working on in this yarn are the Fazales socks. They are from the 52 Weeks of Socks book, but I think they just released all of the patterns from that book as individual patterns on Ravelry. So look on Ravelry, I think it's available now. So I'm working away on the first sock, and it's so pretty. I cast on 64 stitches for these on 2.25mm needles. There is really no cuff on these, it kind of just goes straight into the lace patterning. Slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset, but the slips, or the stitches in this are twisted stitches. And yeah, working away on that, really loving it. This will also be going into my gift box of socks. That first pair that I showed you has been claimed by my mother. I'm not sure if I'm gonna let her claim anymore. This one kind of reminds me of my sister, so I may be putting these ones aside for her. But look at these wrapped stitches. Aren't they so cool? Really neat. I really, really like these socks. I'm having a hard time not keeping them for myself, but I don't need any more. So these are going into the box of gift socks, and I can take as many pictures as I want, and I can see my sister enjoy them, and they're still just as wonderful. I honestly don't even know how long this episode is because my phone's crashed so much. So if it's short, and it's short because I missed saying a whole bunch of stuff, I always write everything down in the show notes below, and I will make sure that I put any of the information that I have missed because I don't have show notes. It'll be down in the description below, so don't worry. So I have one other thing that I thought I would talk about quickly. This is going to be my next cast on since I finished up that one pair of socks. I have empty needles, and we can't have empty needles. So I am going to be casting on my husband's pair of Christmas socks because he has massive feet and I need to start them now. He has size 12, 13-ish feet, and his socks take me forever, and he likes just plain stockinette socks, which is fine, but for some reason that just makes it take even longer. So I'm going to start them now so that I don't have to stress about finishing them by Christmas. So I am going to be using a colorway from Eat Knit Dye yarn. This is the assistant to the, oh, there we go. The assistant to the regional manager colorway, which he is so excited to get. I asked if he had any preference, and I had totally forgot that I had this yarn, but he remembered. So he's obviously very excited to have a pair of socks based off of The Office. So this should be really fun to knit up. It's very different from what I usually knit, and I like that. I think it'll keep it quite interesting. So usually I'll cast on, I think 68 stitches for his socks. I've done 64 before, but he did find them a little too snug. He's kind of right in between those two sizes, so it's hard to know, but I think I'll do 68 just to keep it safe. So that will be a cast on in the next coming days. Actually, I might even cast this on while I'm editing this video, because this is some good editing knitting. But yeah, you have reached the end of this video, I think. Hopefully this doesn't crash again on me. Yeah, that is all I have to share knitting wise. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found some inspiration. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me those down below in the comments, or you can send me a DM on Instagram, I guess, if you'd like as well. I will be back next week with a cross stitch episode showing you what I've been working on cross stitch wise, and it will be on time. Hopefully this shouldn't be up too late today, but this is not Norm, I promise. And as well, my little plug, if you haven't subscribed already, please think of doing so. It helps me a lot. It makes it so YouTube shows me to a lot more people, and more people can see what I'm working on. You can also hit the bell and it will give you notifications when I upload new videos. And other than that, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next week. Bye.